My name is Romello Goodman. I'm an engineer at the New York Times, and this is my talk called Graphic as a Function of State. So as I said, by day, I'm a senior software engineer at the New York Times. At the Times, my team helps people understand the news with new formats and pages. So you may have seen our live blog page, where it is a thread of posts and reporter updates on live events as they're developing, or even more information-heavy pages like our COVID Hub, where people can go to get up-to-date information on the pandemic. I work with a lot of great people who are doing work that is highly impactful and highly fulfilling. And as always, we are hiring and looking for not just developers, but designers, product managers, and just anyone who works in tech. By night, I am a creative coder. I love the web, and a lot of my work has to deal with exploring how creativity and code intersect and interact with one another. My Twitter handle is @mellogood, where you can see where I post a lot of experiments, especially observable notebooks. And my latest project is called Good Graphics, where I've been doing a lot of this experimentation. And this talk kind of naturally arose out of some of my findings. So, just a quick overview of where we're headed. We're going to talk about the principle of UI as a function state, talk a little bit about SVGs, talk about them in the context of React components, and then talk about the graphic systems that you can build with them once you kind of have this understanding. So when we say UI, the function state, it's a core React principle, meaning that you can render your entire site application as a function of the state that you give it. So when you give it the first name hello, last name world, it will render out hello world. And as that input changes, your UI naturally re-renders and is always up to date with the state that it's giving. And it really just means that JXS allows us to declaratively write our markup, especially in the context of updates. So this is a very simple React component. It's called click text. And really what it does is it assumes that you're going to give it a count, and then as that count updates, the text updates. So when we have the prop of clicks equals 1, it's just going to say click 1 times. As it has the prop of 2, click 2 times, and so on and so forth. But really this illustrates that React allows us to really incorporate the state of the data that you were given and render it on the screen without having to do too much extra. Let's talk about SVGs. So if you were like me before I started learning more about them, they're kind of just this design asset that my designer would give me and that I would just throw into a React component and just use but never really touch ever again. But it turns out they're a lot more than that. It's an XML-based language for describing 2D-based graphics, but basically just means that there's a bunch of primitives that allow you to describe things like a circle or a rectangle on the screen. It's natively supported by JSX out of the box, and the markup looks really similar to React components, just with special props. So in action, this is an SVG. You see that we wrap the top level components, SVG with their width, their height, some details about how to draw the lines with a stroke and a fill, and then you can see the circle component has a few props of the circle's X coordinate, the circle's Y coordinate, and then R, which stands for radius. So this is just the specification for how you would draw a circle using SVGs. And it kind of already follows and looks like a React component. So it lends itself very well to thinking in React. So we can start to build these SVGs out and kind of componentize them. We can add more logic to them and really start to work with graphics in the same context in a way that we already know how to work with our UIs. Our components can be updated based on its state. And really, the power that it unlocks is that JSX and SVGs allow us to declaratively write graphics. So let's talk about, through an example, what I mean. This component is called color bar. It takes in a props.color, and then it renders a rectangle that is 20 pixels high in the entire width. And if we call the color bar component with the color black, you see at the bottom we have a black bar. But because, like I said, JSX allows us to render our components and graphics in a very declarative way, we can pass in a prop of color red and see our bar automatically update and re-render, same way a UI would. Or we can pass it the color green, and same thing with the color blue. So this is another way of thinking about working with state and working with React, and thinking in a very declarative way about how we write our components, but with the output being a graphic instead of a fully functional UI, but allowing us to use those same principles. And we can start to really think and add in a lot of complicated logic into these components, because, like I said, they are fully functional components and they have everything that a regular React component would do and have. So in this example, we have props.colors, and it's also, this component is called multi-bar, or multi-color bar, to back up a little bit.